Okay, I hit the thing. It says preparing to live stream for Facebook Live. Is it true? Probably. Maybe. It says preparing, but I'm actually already on, and I'm definitely on now. Hello, and welcome to Tea and New Book Tuesday. I'm Lisa. I'll be your librarian today. As always, oh no, not as always. Today is special. Today is the Christmas special, which is why I have on my semi-Christmassy shirt. Do we like? We enjoy? I need something not too overtly Christmassy because I have to work in this for the remainder of the day. So I went with this sort of a little bit of green, a little bit of red. My tea for today's Tea and New Book Tuesday is Tazo's Organic Baked Cinnamon Apple, which is lovely. Gives me the most wonderful holiday vibes. Today we're going to talk about new books that have come out in the last few months that are Christmas themed. All of them are owned by Mobile Public Library. One of them also has audiobooks. You can check them out so if you can enjoy reading some Christmas themed reads while actual Christmas time has arrived, I assume. Like one of these came out in July, and I think one of them came out in August, which is not when I read Christmas books. I don't know about you. Whatever you do is fine. I'm just saying. Not my thing. But first, we shall do your favorite part of Tea and New Book Tuesday, and my favorite part of Tea and New Book Tuesday, the giveaway. We have important rules today because the holiday is sort of blocking us, both in terms of the library will be closed on Thursday and Friday. And also, even when it reopens on Saturday, our transit that goes between the branches won't be running. So I basically have to get these books out today. So I'm putting today at 5 p.m. as the final time you can enter to get one of these books. But the rest of the rules remain the same. You see a book you like, put in the name of the book and your MPL location for pickup. I will send it to whichever branch you've indicated. I will also respond to your comment in the comments to let you know that you were the one that was picked because you put the name in first. I still have 2 left over from last week, and I hate for them not to get picked up if somebody wants them, but 5 Decembers is a mystery, and it's set in 1941, and Feral Creatures is a horror that's about this crow living in a dystopian world, him and his animal friends. So that's Feral Creatures and 5 Decembers, if you want either of those. The new books, I tried to go for heartwarming, just to have some, because I didn't have anything remotely Christmas themed. But these are still interesting books, and I think I've given away at least 2 of them before, and they went pretty fast. So this is Smile, The Story of a Face by Sarah Ruhl. And this is nonfiction. So this is Sarah talking about her life. With a play opening on Broadway and every reason to smile, Sarah Ruhl has just survived a high-risk pregnancy when she discovers the left side of her face is completely paralyzed. She is assured that 90% of Bell's palsy patients see spontaneous improvement and experience a full recovery, like Ruhl's own mother. But Sarah is in the unlucky 10%. And for a woman, wife, mother, and artist working in the theater, the paralysis and the disconnect between the interior and exterior brings significant and specific challenges. So Ruhl begins an intense, decades-long search for a cure while simultaneously grappling with the reality of her new face, one that, while recognizably her own, is incapable of accurately communicating feelings or intentions. In a series of piercing, witty, and lucid meditations, Ruhl chronicles her journey as a patient. She explores the struggle of a body yearning to match its inner landscape, the pain of postpartum depression, the story of a marriage, being a playwright and a working mom to 3 small children, and the desire for a resilient spiritual life in the face of illness. So that's Smile. Next up, I've gotten this name wrong every time I practiced it, so bear with me. The Great Glorious Goddamn of It All by Josh Ritter. This is a novel, so this is fiction, but it's okay. In the tiny town of Cordelia, Idaho, everyone has heard tales of the Applegates. Local legend says their family line boasts some of the greatest lumberjacks to ever roam the American West. And from the moment young Weldon stepped foot in the deep Cordelia woods as a child, he dreamed of joining the rowdy ranks of his ancestors in their epic axe-swinging adventures. But at the beginning of the 20th century, times are changing fast and the Jacks are dying out. On his deathbed nearly a century later, Weldon Applegate recounts his life in all its glory, filled with tall tales, writ large with murder, mayhem, avalanches, and bootlegging. It's a story of dark pine forests brewing with ancient magic, and Weldon's struggle as a boy to keep his father's inherited timber claim, the Lost Lot, from the ravenous clutches of Lyndon Lachlan. Braided with haunting saloon tunes and just the right dose of magic, the great glorious goddamn of it all is a novel bursting with heart, humor, and an utterly transporting adventure that is sure to sweep you away into the beauty of the tall, snowy mountain timber. So that's the great, glorious goddamn of it all. Next up, we have another nonfiction. This is Flesh and Blood, Reflections on Infertility, Family, and Creating a Bountiful Life. So, by N. West Moss. I drive and think to myself, if I am dying, if this is how I die, then this is how I die. When N. West Moss finds herself bleeding uncontrollably in the middle of writing class, she drives herself to the hospital. Doctors are baffled, but eventually a diagnosis, uterine hemangioma, is determined and a hysterectomy is scheduled. We follow Moss through her surgery, complications, and recovery, and her thoughts turn to her previous struggles with infertility and to grief and healing. Moss's wise, droll voice and limitless curiosity lift this beautiful memoir beyond any narrow focus. Among her interests, yellow fever, good cocktails, the history of New Orleans, and always the natural world, including the praying mantis in her sunroom, whom she names Claude. And when we learn about the inspiring women in Moss's family, her mother, her grandmother, and her great-grandmother, as she sorts out her feelings, that this line will end with her. But Moss discovers that there are other ways besides having children to leave a legacy, and that grief is not a stopping place, but a companion that travels along with us through everything, even happiness. So there we go. Flesh and Blood, Reflections on Infertility, Family, and Creating a Bountiful Life. And a final one I think I've given away before as well, and it went over well when I showed it before. This is The Redemption of Bobby Love, a story of faith, family, and justice. This is another nonfiction, by the way, and it's by Bobby and Cheryl Love. Bobby and Cheryl Love were living in Brooklyn, happily married for decades, when the FBI and NYPD appeared at their door and demanded to know from Bobby, in front of his shocked wife and children, what is your name? No, what is your real name? Bobby's secret was out. He had started getting into legal trouble at age 13, seeing only limitations around him in the Jim Crow South, and little opportunity to build a life on his own terms. In the ensuing years, the pull of the streets and the adrenaline rush from living a fast life proved too alluring. In his early 20s, Bobby was a master thief with a serious criminal record. He soon found himself facing a 30-year prison sentence. But Bobby outwitted his jailers. He escaped, fled to New York, and started a new life under a new name, Bobby Love. Over the next 38 years, Bobby lived as a law-abiding citizen. He married Cheryl, worked multiple jobs to support their growing family, coached Little League, attended church, took their children to Disneyland, and led an otherwise normal life. Then it all came crashing down. With the drama of a jailbreak story and the incredible tension of a life lived in hiding, The Redemption of Bobby Love is an unbelievable but true account of building a life from scratch, the pain of festering secrets in a marriage, and the unbreakable bonds of faith and love that keep a family together. So that's The Redemption of Bobby Love. If you want any of these 6 books, as always, put the title in the comments below, along with your MPO location for pickup. I will start sending them out right after I shut down this live stream. Okay, now we talk about Christmas books. It is Christmas book time, the time of Christmas books for Christmas booking. All right, so let me share my screen so you can see my fun Christmassy slides. By the way, I've been thinking about reorganizing how the books are presented on our on the Goodreads Teen New Book Tuesday group, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it could be more useful to you guys. So I might organize them by genre and remove old ones. Either, I haven't decided what I'm doing, but it will begin with the 2022 books, and I will most likely remove almost all of the old books. So if there was something I talked about that you want to read, add it to your to be read, your want to read list on Goodreads. Because if you're expecting to be able to come and get it from the Teen New Book Tuesday group, it will probably be gone in the next week or so. Moving on to our Christmas edition books. All right, starting off with The Wish Book Christmas by Lynn Austin. Best friends Audrey Barrett and Eve Dawson are looking forward to celebrating Christmas in post-war America. Thrilled at the prospect of starting new traditions with their 5-year-old sons, but when the 1951 Sears Christmas Wish book arrives and the boys start obsessing over every toy in it, Audrey and Eve realize they must first teach them the true significance of the holiday. They begin by helping Bobby and Harry plan gifts of encouragement and service for those in their community, starting by walking an elderly neighbor's yellow lab, since a dog topped the boys' wish list for Santa. In the charming tale that follows, Audrey and Eve are surprised to find their own hearts healing from the tragedies of war and opening to the possibility of forgiveness and new love. So that was The Wish Book Christmas. Our next book is Christmas by the Book. There we go. By Anne Marie Ryan. Okay. Nora and her husband Simon have run the beautiful oak-beamed bookshop in their small British village for 30 years. But times are tough, and the shop is under threat of closure. This Christmas season will really decide their fate. When an elderly man visits the store and buys the one book they've never been able to sell, saying it's the perfect gift for his sick grandson, it gives Nora an idea. She and Simon will send out books to those feeling down this Christmas. Maybe they can't save their bookstore, but at least they'll have one final chance to lift people's spirits through the power of reading. After gathering nominations online, Nora and Simon quietly deliver books to 6 residents of the village in need of some festive cheer, including a single dad of twins who's working hard to make ends meet, a teenage boy grieving for his big sister, a local member of parliament who is battling depression, and a teacher who's newly retired and living on her own. As the town prepares for a white Christmas, the books begin to give their recipients hope, one by one. But with the future of the bookshop still up in the air, Nora and Simon will need a Christmas miracle, or perhaps a little help from the people whose lives they've touched, to find a happy ending of their own. Good to this. And that was Christmas by the Book by Anne Marie Ryan. Next up, we have The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. When Chef Charlie Goodwin gets hit on the head on the LA set of her reality baking show, she loses a lot more than consciousness. She also loses her ability to taste and smell, both critical to her success as show judge. Meanwhile, Charlie's identical twin Cass is frantically trying to hold her own life together back in their quaint mountain hometown, while running the family's bustling bakery and dealing with her ex, who won't get the memo that they're over. With only days until Christmas, a desperate Charlie asks Cass to do something they haven't done since they were kids: switch places. Looking for her own escape from reality, Cass agrees. But temporarily trading lives proves more complicated than they imagined, especially when rugged firefighter Jake Greenman and gorgeous physician's assistant Miguel Rodriguez are thrown into the mix. Will the twins' identity swap be a recipe for disaster, or does it have all the right ingredients for getting their lives back on track? That's The Holiday Swap by Marty Knox. A Season for Second Chances by Jenny Bayless. Annie Sharp's spark for life has fizzled out. Her kids are grown up, her restaurant is doing just fine on its own, and her 26-year marriage has come to an unceremonious end. Untethered for the first time in her adult life, she finds a winter guardian position in a historic seaside home and decides to leave her city life behind for a brand new beginning. When she arrives in Willow Bay, Annie is enamored by the charming house, the invigorating sea breeze, and the town's rich seasonal traditions. Not to mention her neighbors receive her with open arms. That is, all except the surly nephew of the homeowner, whose grand plans for the property are at odds with her residency. As Christmas approaches, tension and tides rise in Willow Bay, and Annie's future seems less and less certain. But with a little can-do spirit and holiday magic, the most difficult time of her life will become a season for second chances. Right? Season for Second Chances is already out, as are all of these. Moving on to Celebration at Christmas Cove by Carrie Jansen. Make a little tea. Okay. Travel magazine writer Celeste Bell is in a terrible mood. Not only was her flight to the Caribbean diverted to a Massachusetts island, now it looks like she'll have to spend Christmas there. Single and still mourning the loss of her mother a year earlier, Celeste is desperate to avoid any emotional entanglements and all holiday festivities. She just doesn't feel like celebrating. But that's exactly what Community Center Director Nathan White and his young daughter Abigail want to do. Nathan is entirely focused on making sure that his daughter has a happy Christmas, especially with the knowledge that if he can't raise the money for the community center soon, it will close and they'll have to leave the island. When he meets Celeste, Nathan begins to feel a connection and wonders if he's brave enough to risk his heart once more. Thawing their frozen hearts and saving the community center will require a Christmas miracle, but 'tis the season. All right, that was Celebration at Christmas Cove. Next up, we have Dear Santa by the always popular Debbie McComber. Lindy Carmichael isn't feeling particularly joyful when she returns home to Winnetachee, Washington. It's an elaborate name. Anyway, the man she thought was the one has cheated on her with her best friend, and she feels completely devoid of creativity in her graphic design job. Not even carolers or Christmas cookies can cheer her up. But Lindy's mother, Ellen, remembers an old tradition that might lift her daughter's spirits. Reading through a box of childhood letters to Santa and reminiscing about what she'd wished for as a young girl may be just the inspiration Lindy needs. With Ellen's encouragement, she decides to write a new letter to Santa, one that will encourage her to have faith and believe just as she'd done all those years ago. Little does Lindy know that this exercise in gratitude will cause her wishes to unfold before her in miraculous ways. And thanks to some fateful twists of Christmas magic, especially an unexpected connection with a handsome former classmate, Lindy ultimately realizes that there is truly no place like home for the holidays. That's Dear Santa by Debbie McComber. All right, another always popular author, The Christmas Promise by Richard Paul Evans. On the night of her high school graduation, Rochelle Bach's father gave her and her identical twin sister, Michelle, matching opal necklaces. These opals look identical, he tells them, but the fire inside each of you is completely unique, just like the two of you. Indeed, two sisters couldn't be more different, and their paths diverge as they embark on adulthood. Years pass until, at their father's behest, they both come home for Christmas. What happens then forever damages their relationship, and Rochelle vows never to see or speak to her sister again. In their father's last days, he asks Rochelle to forgive Michelle, a death promise she never fulfills as her twin is killed in an accident. Now painfully alone and broken, caring for the sickest of children in a hospital PICU, Rochelle has one last dream: to be an author. The plot of her book, The Prodigal Daughter, is a story based on her sister's life. It's not until she meets Justin Eck, a man who harbors his own loss, that a secret promise is revealed, and Rochelle learns that the story she's been writing is not about her sister, but about herself. The Christmas Promise, we also have on audiobook. So if you'd like an audiobook to listen to while you're driving to wherever your Christmas plans are, The Christmas Promise is available. And now we are going to have a drastic tonal shift as we have left inspirational and romance behind. We are embarking on mystery and then horror. I had to. Why not? A Gingerbread House by Catriona McPherson. When shy, lonely Ivy meets a woman who claims to be her long-lost sister, she knows it's too good to be true. She decides to trust Kate anyway. She wants a family. She wants someone to love. She's making a mistake. Ivy enters Kate's Scottish fairy tale cottage, and she doesn't come out. She's the first to go missing. She won't be the last. All right, that is a Gingerbread House. If your Christmas plans involve some mystery. Now, there is a Christmas tradition in the UK of telling ghost stories at Christmas. I'm not sure why, but one of the products of that tradition is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This is a collection of ghost stories for Christmas. I don't know if it was published here in the UK. I kind of assume it was in the UK. But anyway, it's called Chill Tidings, Dark Tales of the Christmas Season. The gifts are unwrapped, the feast has been consumed, and the fire is well fed. But the ghosts are still hungry. Welcome to the second new collection of dark Christmas stories in the Tales of the Weird series, ushering in a fresh host of nightmarish phantasms and otherworldly intruders bent on joining or ruining the most wonderful time of the year. Featuring classic tales alongside rare pieces from the sleeping periodicals and literary magazines of the library collection, it's time to open the door and let the real festivities begin. All right. Chill Tidings is available at several locations if you're interested. All right. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. I will be here next Tuesday. I will start with January's hits at that time. And between now and then, have a great Thanksgiving. I'll see you guys later. Bye.